Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel or welcome back. My name is Sarita. It is such a gloomy and dark day here, even though it's like midday. So, yuck. But I have a double candle review for you today from Yankee Candle. And the candles in question are... I'm actually a little bit embarrassed to even lift these up. Okay, so not for the first one. This first one is dried lavender and oak. Can you see it? It's kind of a dusty lavender color. These are my beautiful medium discontinued tumblers from Yankee, which makes me very wroth, angry. That was very old-fashioned. I really love these, and I love that they have the two wicks, and now they don't have a good medium, and they don't have a medium with two wicks, so I'm not happy about it. At any rate, I have been snapping these up wherever I can find them, and I've wanted to try dried lavender and oak for a very long time. It's been out for by very long time, I mean like 3 or 4 years. I don't know exactly what year it is that it came out. It's been under the Rubbermaid label. So it's been fairly recent. I want to say within the last 4 years, although I could be mistaken about that. I've always wanted to try it because I smell it and I kind of really like the smell of it. So I have actually 2 of these, I think. Because I thought I was gonna love them. And I mean, spoiler alert, I do like it. We just have some caveats. So, I thought I would love it, so I have 2 of these actually on hand. And this is the first one I've burned, and then I hope you're sitting down, gird your loins. Seaside Woods, and yes, do you see that? Do you see that crazy amount of soot? It's been a long time since I've had a candle that was terrible like that. Look at that. It's insanity. I honestly don't know what happened to this candle. It developed this in the midpoint of the candle, and I have no idea how or why. And I was actually really worried about continuing to burn it because of how bad it was. And if I hadn't been reviewing it, I think I would have just cleaned it off. But since I was reviewing it, I don't want to be dishonest. I want to be transparent about what it did. This is very unusual. This is Yankee Candle Soy Blend. And I mean, look at this one. This is more what I'm accustomed to, which makes me think that something just really went wrong with this. I have not seen even their paraffin go this dark. So honestly, I have no idea what happened, but it did happen and I want to report it. So there you go. This is Seaside Woods. Oh my gosh, I love this fragrance so much. And the fragrances are a little bit similar, just a little bit. So I felt like they were probably really good to review in the same breath. So let's start out with dried lavender and oak. Dried lavender and oak has a following, I think. A lot of people really like dried lavender and oak. I did too. Oh, it's a beautiful fragrance. So this this is a nouveau Yankee Candle smell. So definitely this is not a traditional Yankee Candle smell, but I've noticed that this fragrance profile is the best of the new Yankee Candle profiles, which is it's on the perfumey side, but I think the best of their new perfumey kind of fragrances have this amazing, creamy, musky, cashmere-like feel to them. Regardless of what other things are in the fragrance, they all kind of have that distinctive smell. It reminds me actually, Root Candle from Medina has the same thing, which I associated with the beeswax formula blend, which I think I'm smelling through all of their fragrances, which at least to my nose, imparts to each one of those Root candles this almost savory, donut-like quality to it. And like I said, I think it's the beeswax that I'm smelling through the blend, but it really, for many of their fragrances, it just lends this amazing, gorgeous warmth and coziness. And honestly, I picked up in both of these candles and in many Yankee candles that I think are the fragrances that have been the most successful in the Rubbermaid era have been like this, have been very cozy, cashmere, musky. And if there was one positive thing to say about the Nouveau Yankee Candle smell, this is fantastic. It is kind of a little bit of a perfumey conceptual, but it is a lot softer and easier on the bergamot and makes the candles a little bit more bassy, a little bit less overtly perfume or cologne-y, and instead fills out the mid notes in kind of a very creamy cashmere kind of way. I think it's a fantastic profile, and if they continue doing these perfume and cologne conceptuals, I do think that this category works well, smells gorgeous. So dried lavender oak is definitely in this category. Kind of burying the lead here. Let me read. There's a blurb for dried lavender and oak, and then there are dedicated top, middle, base notes. So the blurb for dried lavender and oak is, it's actually kind of weird. Hand-tied bunches of lavender mill about the woodsy scents and spices of an outdoor farmer's market. I don't know about the mill part. I think that maybe that's supposed to be a different word. Wood-tied bunches of lavender. And then something about the woodsy scents and spices of an outdoor farmer's market. Grammatically, that sentence is just not correct, or even just that blurb is not correct. So I have no idea what they're talking about. But we get from it hand bunches of lavender and woodsy scents and spices, outdoor farmer's market. I'm not getting any outdoors farmer's market from this. First of all, this fragrance is extremely refined and extremely cozy and intimate. So you're not getting any kind of like outdoor rugged experience, period. Definitely not any like ozone. Like you're not outdoors with this fragrance. You are very much indoors with this fragrance in a very kind of small space and in an intimate setting, probably in the evening. So I don't know what they're smoking with farmers market. And I know that they're trying to invoke like a lavender bunch here that is very like organic and puristic, I guess, holistic. I don't really know. But again, not the vibe of this candle. There is lavender in this, I think, but like I said, it's so refined. There's just nothing rugged here or like farm to table like, if you know what I mean. Farm to spa like or something, you know? So I think they just added all of those buzzwords and invoked all of those concepts because they were cool and are still cool. Like I said, this fragrance, super cozy, super cashmere, very sweet. I don't even know that I would pick out lavender, although I think there is lavender in it. Oh gosh, this is a fragrance that like Bath and Body Works would kill for. Because it's just so very like lavender marshmallow, but a little bit more woody and cool and a little bit of, like I said, I keep going back to cashmere. There's a fresh and clean note here that's not quite soapy, but it also kind of maybe goes a little tiny bit white floral, almost cotton blossom-ish. It's giving that kind of more woven, like tapestry kind of feel to it, which is giving it like a warm blanket kind of feel, along with a lot of vanilla. It's got a lot of vanilla in this candle and a lot of musk. And the whole thing is creating like a very cashmere kind of feel to it. It is sweet And there are some brighter notes that actually remind me very much, because I'm burning it actually right now in my back bedroom, Together Weather from Bath and Body Works. Very similar. There are some kind of bright top notes that are a little bit powdery that remind me very much of that Sweater Weather fragrance. Not quite fruity, but there's just a, gosh, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a very bright caramelized vanilla with like a cool fruit note. And it's giving, with the musk, it's giving off this very strange, like sweet powdery note that might also be a little bit wet. I know that sounds bizarre. It's a hard fragrance to kind of explain and describe. I don't think that dried lavender and oak probably get where they need to get with this fragrance. Because dried lavender and oak, it regardless of like the nonsense about the farmer's market and all that kind of thing. Dried lavender and oak invokes something that's like austere. You know what I mean? Austere, rugged, maybe slightly masculine or aromatherapy leaning. And this fragrance is just not. Which makes me think that it's a little bit mismarketed, because I just think that there are so many people, let's be clear, so many women who would love this fragrance because it's sweet and it's cozy and it's just everything, right? That a certain kind of woman loves, if you know what I mean. And not just women, but like everyone in general. I just think with the marketing and the branding, it's kind of going in a more austere, possibly masculine direction with the oak mention. And then lavender is a little bit of acquired taste as well. And then with the oak, I think it's just like invoking a certain category that is not quite what this fragrance is. This fragrance is more cozy and feminine than it is austere, masculine, cool, or even spa aromatherapy. It's really not those. It's much more cozy, feminine. But I'm very happy to say that it also has a great deal of like musk in it. And my tastes lean more masculine, and I love this fragrance. So I just think that it's a great, like kind of mid-range candle that is going to make everybody happy. I think it's fantastic. I think it's balanced. I think that it's developed beautifully. I didn't tell you what the top, middle, and bottom notes are, did I? It's just that lately, Yankee's top, middle, and bottom notes they can just be whack. Like, I've laughed about like how they match up fragrances and names like at like a drunk Christmas party at the end of the year, where they just pull like names of fragrances out of one bucket and then like fragrances out of the other bucket, and they just like match them up. Fragrance 1043B is now going to be dried lavender and oak. Like absolutely no effort to like whatever. Anyway, I've joked about that. I don't think that happens, but I would say hold these notes loosely. Top notes: white peppercorn, lavender, and bergamot. Mid notes: Davana. So Davana is it's a grassy like Indian herb, and it's, to be honest, it's kind of, I think, in the category of like a lemongrass or even a lemon verbena minus the lemon, if that makes any sense. It's like a grassy herby that is, I think, a little tea-like and maybe a little vaguely fruity, but not lemon. And then it just says white flowers here. Again, that could be a cotton blossom. Moss is also in the mid notes. In the base notes, we have vanilla, patchouli, and cedarwood. Don't be freaked out by the patchouli. There is something very like herbal, dark, musky kind of in the base notes. But like I said, beautifully blended with all of the vanilla, all of the floral, all of the caramel, and the cashmere. It's really, really nice. And there is a little bit of like a cool herbal, like something there that could be lavender, that could be patchouli. But again, it's really playing second fiddle to that amazing vanilla cashmere note that is a little bit musky. So I think a little bit misnamed. It obviously burned great, burned clean all the way down to the wick clips. Absolutely no problems, burned like a dream. Unfortunately, though, for me, the strength and throw was just not there. It really was not. And I tried this under a lamp. I've burned it in all kinds of different places. Like the most that I can get out of this is kind of something in the 4 range, like with doors closed in the back bedroom. It's a beautiful back bedroom scent, by the way, so that's nice. But it would also be a beautiful like house filling scent if we could get there, but we cannot. So I would say it got up to like a 4. Maybe a 5 in a guest bathroom with the door closed. Like it's just not enough. It's absolutely not enough. So it's a hard one for me to recommend because it's a gorgeous fragrance and I think a beautiful representation, a beautiful exhibit A of Yankee Candle Nouveau. It is not old school Yankee, but it's still a thing and it's still beautiful and it's unique and it's gorgeous. And like if Yankee Candle was kind of turning the page and doing stuff like conceptuals like this, I think it's fantastic. I think they are going to be competing with Kringle and with Bath and Body Works on these conceptuals. And so in that sense, not quite the like more basic candles that Yankee has done in the past very, very well. I don't think that this new Yankee knows how to do basic fragrances very well. As bizarre as that is, I don't think they're good at basics. And I think they need to get better at basics because the clientele and the demographic of Yankee has always been very strongly basic gourmands, basic fruits, basic florals, right? And I think Yankee needs to be able to at least do the basics decently. And I'm not convinced that they know how to do that. I do love these new conceptuals, especially when they're not so overtly perfume and cologne-y. And this is a perfect example of that, of a conceptual that goes a tiny bit perfumey, but isn't like a full-fledged fragrance or perfume or cologne. It's not so heavy on the amber and the bergamot that like we can't even appreciate any of the inner notes. So I think this is actually fantastic and I'm a fan if this is the direction that new Yankee wants to go in. But the strength in the throw needs to be there. And I'm talking to all candle companies right now. This is a non-negotiable. I don't care what else you do with your wax formula, with your wicks, with your vessel size, with the genre of your fragrances. We are not here for unscented candles. If we were here for unscented candles, we wouldn't be paying money to go to a brick and mortar candle store. We would not, God forbid, be paying pretty prices to get them shipped to us blind. I'm sorry, it's a no. If we wanted unscented candles that were just there for like ambiance or decor, we would be going to Marshalls and TJ Maxx, okay? Buying those like, DH Home or whatever else it is. We would be going to Target. Target is great at like putting a beautiful candle on the table that doesn't really have any strength and throw. There are a million different options that we have for unscented candles. I'm sorry to like go there in this red letter way, but I'm over it right now. I am over it with all of the companies, although some are better than others, okay? Bath and Body Works has not even been great this year with strength and throw. But as I've said before, I do think they're experimenting a little bit with their wax formula, and it's understandable. Bath and Body Works has been dragged for years for how quote-unquote dirty, sooty their candles are. Years. They've become like a pariah in the candle community for how allegedly dirty their candles are. So I understand them wanting to take a year and like rework their wax formula, add a little bit more soy. They don't want to be known as the dirty candle company, and I totally get it. In the process, obviously, even their strength and throw has taken a hit. Because, as I've said a million times over, the more soy that you add to your candles, the less strength and throw, generally speaking, you're going to get. There are exceptions, but they are exceptions. What you have to do to be able to get the strength and throw with a soy formula, it's like, oh my gosh, if I was a candle developer, it's just a very difficult process. And it's really kind of a trade-off. The more soy you add, the less strength and throw. So Bath & Body Works has taken a hit. I think they're experimenting right now. God bless. I wish them well. I do think their candles are burning cleaner for sure, and cleaning and burning better. But it has been at the expense of strength and throw. So I would like to see them with a little bit more strength and throw, maybe a little bit more soot, not quite as much soot as was before. You as a candle developer, as a candle company, you just have to find that sweet spot where it's enough soy that you have at least, you don't have an unreasonably sooty candle, but at the same time still have the projection of strength and throw that paraffin gives you. Paraffin also allows some of those bassier, deeper notes to come forward a little bit more. Soy has trouble communicating like high highs and low lows of fragrances as well. So your fragrance profile will change as well as strength and throw with a great deal of soy. Okay, I didn't mean to get into that. I just kind of had a moment because it's like, I think nothing infuriates me more than when a candle company has a beautiful fragrance that their fragranciers, that their lab has created a gorgeous fragrance, and they have a gorgeous color wax, and they have a weird marketing, but a marketing. And then the candle you can't smell it. Oh my gosh. It's like, it's getting all the way up to the end and then fumbling. And it just drives me insane. If it was a terrible fragrance that had bad strength and throw, like who cares, right? So that's what I'm talking about. I think dried lavender and oak will be around at Yankee Candle for a pretty long time. Like I said, I think it's fairly popular. It's one of their more recent fragrances that has been successful, and I think successful for very good reason. It's just not firing as loudly as I would like for it to. I would say that if you are interested in dried lavender and oak, I actually would recommend that you would buy it, if you have the capacity for it, buy it in wax melts and or those scent cups that are kind of trademarked to Yankee Candle. Buy them in those varieties because I think you're going to have a better chance of projection on the melting. When I melted, I got a little bit more. I mean, it was marginal. It was marginal, the increase. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to be miracles, but I do think that you might have a little bit more success in that respect than burning, especially if you don't have 2 wicks. And unfortunately, they're smaller candles now only have 1 wick, which I think is a huge mistake. They need a medium with a 2 wick. This was a beautiful format. And I would also recommend scent cups and wax melts for this ridiculousness. Maybe it's a dud. Maybe I just got a very random candle. But if Seaside Woods burns this way, do not burn it. You cannot burn it. I have a very high a very high threshold for tolerance of soot because I'm a paraffin kind of girl. I like my paraffin candles and I'm used to a certain amount of soot. But even for me, this is beyond. This is absurd. This is an absolute no. Absolute no. I have no idea what happened here, but nothing good, right? So if Seaside Woods was going to do this going forward, I personally would only buy it in the wax melts. and I would want to because this fragrance is my heart and soul. As much as I like dried lavender and oak, Seaside Woods for me is like hoard worthy, and that's what makes me so upset. I will be repurchasing this scent, but I'm unless and until I've been convinced that they've reformulated this, I will not be purchasing it in candle form. The strength and throw on Seaside Woods was actually worse than dried lavender and oak. I had trouble getting it up into the 2 and 3 range, even in a guest bedroom. So this one was really bad in terms of strength and throw. This one was marginally better. So in all rights, I shouldn't be recommending Seaside Woods at all. It's just that I love the fragrance so much. And every time I pick it up in store and smell it, I'm like, done. Yes, where do I sign, right? So Seaside Woods, and I think this is, again, fairly recent, but still very much in the Nouveau Yankee Candle style, came out probably maybe a little after dried lavender and oak. I'm wanting to say in the last 2 or 3 years, something like that. And I hope this one sticks around, but oh my gosh, with the performance, like it's craziness. All right, so the blurb on Seaside Woods is surround yourself in cozy intrigue. Do you see where we're going with this like new cashmere kind of musk conceptual, which is very similar. Surround yourself in cozy intrigue. Driftwood mingles with brilliant citrus and floral notes for the perfect coastal escape. Okay, so coastal escape with driftwood, again, is taking you to a very like rugged outdoor, possibly masculine place. And then they're giving us like cozy at the same time. And it's a little bit discordant. Once again, we have a gorgeous, cozy, cashmere, intimate, back bedroom kind of scent that could also be a full house scent, but is absolutely not a rugged, outdoorsy kind of scent. So in that sense, they're giving us a little bit of a mixed message here that doesn't really go with the fragrance. Even with the amount of soot here, I can smell this fragrance and it is giving me so much joy. You do not even know. This is one of the best candles that I've smelled full stop in the last year or so, from any candle company. Anyone would kill for this. Bath & Body Works would, but to be honest, this smells a bit more sophisticated than most of the candles that Bath & Body Works does. It doesn't mean Bath & Body Works couldn't do it. It just means that generally speaking, their candles are not quite as premium and sophisticated as this one. Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. Once again, just really mismarketed. Because if you smelled it, there's no way that you would go coastal, that you would go masculine, that you would go rugged. There's just absolutely no way. This is not really even a beachy candle, and you know I love my aquatics and my beach candles. This is not an aquatic and beach candle. It's really not. Instead, it's a gorgeous, like January, golden cashmere kind of fragrance that has like a beautiful floral note in it, just absolutely gorgeous. It is a white floral, but it's not heavy, it's bright, it's fresh, and just a tiny bit fruity. But the whole thing is kind of this more powdery cashmere kind of feel with a heavy amount of musk anchoring it. And it's so bizarre that they say brilliant citrus, because while there may be a touch of bergamot in here, that's usually the profile for a perfume or a cologne, you're not getting any sparkling notes at all. This is a solidly mid to base level candle. There's almost no real highs to it, except for the sweetness of that like vanilla caramel cashmere note, if that makes sense. But it's sitting into that mid-range. The top of the arc of the fragrance is really still sitting into the mid-range. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Sometimes like cashmere, and especially like sandalwood, not that there's sandalwood in this, sandalwood candles have a certain like flat, brassy kind of, I don't know, bland is not the right, there's just a certain kind of like harsh, almost like sour kind of note to some sandalwood candles, and they're just kind of flat and beige and brown, right? They don't glow, they're not dynamic. This is a dynamic cashmere candle. You know that I love golden cashmere from Kringle. It's one of my favorite candles, and this is very solidly in the golden cashmere genre. This one is too. It's just got a little bit more of the funky herbal notes in it that is going to be a little bit of an acquired taste for some people. This one is one of those candles that, oh my gosh, everyone would love this. It's so sweet and it's so sexy and cozy, and like, this is a woman's woman kind of candle, but at the same time it has that heavy, bassy, musky thing that is just, it's gorgeous. Oh, it's just, it's right in the middle of like masculine and feminine, and it's like it's just the combination, the juxtaposition of both, and it works, and the balance is just right. Honestly, there's still like a basic and a familiar nature to this candle. Like, it's not like unusual in terms of a fragrance note there that you would not expect. It's just executed flawlessly. If this candle had strength and throw, it might be one of my favorite candles of all time. I'm not kidding you. It is that good. It is that good. I almost like it better than golden cashmere. Again, this is what makes me furious about the lack of execution. Furious. If it's not executed, the consumer will not buy it. And if the consumer does not buy it, we're going to say bye-bye to this fragrance. And it's such a tragedy. Again, mismarketed. I mean, it has nothing to do with the Seaside at all. There's really no briny note. Oh, I didn't read to you the notes. And this might actually make sense of why they've marketed it the way that they did. Not that it makes any sense. So the top notes is orange blossoms. Oh, you know I love my orange blossoms. Not neroli. Neroli, I can take or leave. Sometimes it's a nice neroli, sometimes it's not. Orange blossom, though, if it's a legit, authentic orange blossom, I am there for it. This is a beautiful white floral. It is not like a botanical candle, though. So it's not like a fresh spring kind of floral. It's a perfume floral, there's no question, but it is like a very light and, like I said, almost fruity kind of floral. Not a jasmine, if you know what I mean. And so it didn't surprise me when I saw the list and it said orange blossom on it. It's not an orange blossom candle because it's more of that like cashmere, vanilla, caramel, musk, kind of almost a cozy fragrance, rather, like I said, than a botanical spring kind of floral. But the floral that they're using here to brighten and expand is gorgeous, light, and almost a little fruity, which is giving it that gold note, if you know what I mean. Like in golden cashmere, there's something that just right on the top kind of shines, it glows a little bit rather than it being like flat brown and beige. And I think it's that orange blossom note. All right, so the top notes are orange blossoms and cool citrus. Which is ridiculous. If there's any citrus in it, either from the orange blossoms or some amount of bergamot, it's actually a warm citrus rather than a cool. This candle is warm, warm, warm. There is no aspect of it that is cool. You might be able to say that there are some cool notes in this dried lavender and oak. It's not really a cool candle, but it does have some kind of funky herbal qualities to it that some might associate as cool on some sort of spectrum. This one has absolutely nothing cool in it at all. It's as warm as it comes, no question. Warm, warm, warm. Mid notes here are sweet alyssum. Sweet alyssum. What is alyssum? and acacia. Those are the mid notes. I think alyssum and acacia are actually very similar. They're flowers. Well, acacia is flowers. It's like a tree shrub, I think. But people often use acacia, the wood, the stems, and the bark as more of a woody, spicy fragrance. Like you'll hear like acacia wood, for instance. I think it's like a contributor to like incense fragrances and stuff like that. But I think here where they're using it with alyssum, I think they're talking about the acacia flower, in which case alyssum and acacia are actually very similar flowers. They have a very honey aspect to them. Again, warm. Honey works gorgeous. It's honey. Oh man, this is beautiful. It is kind of a honey, ambered kind of floral smell. Oh man, that's beautiful. And then your base notes are cottonwood and driftwood, both of which invoke woods that are very, very rugged and almost off-putting in their harshness and in their musk. There's a ton of musk here. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not getting a whole lot of actual wood notes. I'm just getting a lot of musk. The musk that goes well with like a caramel and a vanilla and a honey and an orange blossom and all those things. And there is a freshness again to the candle, very similar to dried oak and lavender. There's a freshness that's not quite soapy, but it goes in a fresh, clean, almost cotton-like direction without it being either soap or cotton or laundry detergent, which is again giving it that cashmere-like feel. I haven't heard that many people even talk about Seaside Woods, and I don't know why, because I think it's fantastic. It's a fantastic fragrance. But how can I recommend a candle that is struggling to get up to 2 and is giving me this? I will 100% continue to repurchase this in wax melts. I want my whole house to smell like this. I do. At all seasons, but oh my gosh, I can't imagine either now in this season or January, February, March, because there's such a coziness and intimacy about it. It would be fantastic. If you're getting sick of like the pumpkin spice or whatever else that is, both of these fragrances would be great for fall or for cool weather after Christmas as well. And I think they would be amazing palette cleansers just if you need a break from the traditional spices, from the apples, from the pumpkins, etc., and then from the like trees and all kinds of other things after Christmas. These two would be fantastic, both in fall and January, February, and March. So I really want to recommend them highly for both of those times. I'm just not impressed. I'm not impressed with the Strength and Throw, and especially with Seaside Woods, incredibly unimpressed by that kind of sooting, which I can only assume is a fluke and just happened to my candle for very bizarre reasons. You know what I mean? I've never seen their soy formula do anything. I haven't even seen their paraffin do that. So I want to say that it was just a fluke, and I'm sorry that it happened on camera to be recorded for posterity. But yeah, I will definitely be buying both of them, but certainly Seaside Woods in the melt cups or in the wax melts. And I just hope, Yankee, why would you be watching? But Yankee, if you're watching, please reformulate both of them with a better Strength and Throw, and please commit to both of them. I think you are already committed to the dried lavender and oak, but Seaside Woods, please, 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 please. I wish you had marketed it in a different way, because I'm not sure that anybody knows that this is a gorgeous, cozy cashmere fragrance and has nothing to do with the ocean, with the rocks, with the coast, etc., etc. And I think you're missing out on a big audience there. I really do. So would I love for it to be repackaged as something more appropriate? Yes. But But if you're only going to do one thing, please just bump up the strength and throw in the performance on both of these fragrances. These need to be your marquee fragrances, okay? This is the best of what it is that you are doing now that nobody is on board with. So you need to lead with the fragrances that are working and are successful in this new era. These are new era candles that deserve an audience, that will make people think twice about Yankee Candle. But if you're gonna fumble the ball when it matters, I don't know what to say. That's what I've got for you guys. Two very interesting candles from Yankee Candle. Two that I think should be extremely successful, and at least in the case of Seaside Woods are just not. But definitely, if the next time you're in a store or you're ordering something from Yankee Candle, just get some wax melts in both of them, you know, one or both. Give it a smell. If you've got a melter, put it in the melter, see what happens. If you are the kind of person that loves anything near this genre, I just think really fantastic, really fantastic. That's what I've got for you, my friends. I'll link everything down below. Unfortunately, they're not available in this format anymore, but they are available in all other formats. So check it out. Thank you so much, my friends. Thanks for your patience, for hearing me rant. Sorry. And I'll catch you in the next one. Guess what? My Homeworks candles just came. They came in 2 business days after being processed in 6 hours. Homeworks coming through. So I think now I'm up to like almost 10 or 12 Homeworks candles. Like, it's craziness. So we're going to do a big Homeworks haul soon. Stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for joining me. Keep dry, and I'll catch you in the next one.